Here we are back again. It's been a journey, but we have gotten here eventually. Boy oh boy, that was a messy one. Very messy indeed. Good to have everyone, or most everyone, back in, as we're just resetting, reshuffling, and making sure everything is all right. Going back into the event. We're just missing one person that we will wait for, obviously. As we go and reshare our links. And there's our last driver in, actually. That's wonderful. And it was Heafy. Cool. No dramas at all, so just need Heafy and Fat GTR back on. Oop, just Fat. It'll be good to start, finally. Interesting. Quick little look at our starting tyres there. So we might just actually start setting the grid. Cape. HB, Snorksel did jump up into there, then it'll be Fat GDR behind him. And Greenie and Steve. Still no Fat GDR. There we go. All right. I think we're just about here, just about ready to go. Just a quick second. Probably just let Cabe get to the line. I think we'll kick it off, to be honest. All right, let's do it. Let's get going. Ladies and gentlemen, the first round of the Motorsport Australia GT Championships. And here we go, on the grid now. 9 BRZ GT300s. And it's a standing start for these guys. 30 laps. They must use the mediums, must use the hards. Both mandatory. We saw it just before. Most of these guys starting on the hard tyre. 5 lights. Lights out, and away we go. All cars off from the grid nicely, as it was Fat GDR in the background getting a nice start from P7, looking to make amends for losing that spot to Snorksel as they all tuck into formation. It's Heafy who got the better start out of the front row. DJ in behind him, sweeps into the first corner, line astern, as these guys settle in now for a 30-lap race, just shy of an hour around Trial Mountain. And I don't expect there to be any let-off whatsoever for these guys, as it's going to be a mental, strategy and physical battle that makes sense at all. As they all pile in here. First sector finish. Heafy controlling the pace right now, controlling the field. And all relatively close. DJ only 3/10 off his back. Presley still trying to keep with these guys. A bit early to be falling off, I would think. But a little bit of an air gap already. Back to Kincaid, who there in car 007 has Snorksel for company. He was able to make a spot. Actually, it was HB Motor, I believe, who did drop a few spots off the start. So HB Motor not getting the start I'm sure he would have wanted for this race. Not that he doesn't have the pace to make it up again. Someone going defensive in the background there. I think it was Fat GDR over HB Motor, not wanting to lose a spot nice and early to him, as those guys all squabbling for position in the background. So we're on with the reigning champion at the moment. That's James Shelley Robbins, S2T Snorksel, street to track driver. Come across doing a lot for Race on Oz at the moment, holding in P5 at the moment, as we are coming to the conclusion of this first of 30 laps around what is such a traditionally Gran Turismo circuit. Something so famous, so many people know this track and know it for the amazing racing that it puts on. That was a great exit there from DJ actually. He might put a little bit of pressure on Heafy at the end of this straight as they come across the line to end the first lap of the race. And DJ Master pulling out nice and early. Don't think he's quite going to get the run to do anything, but just showing Heafy straight away he's not going to let him go. And DJ making his intentions clear very, very early of what he came here to do, and that's to race and hopefully finish up on top. As you can see, a little bit of field spread now in that tunnel. DJ, massive moment on the exit of the tunnel. So easy. The car gets super light over the crest on exit. Very, very easy to lose a ton of time out there. DJ did a great job not to drop it entirely. I think we're probably going to see quite a long battle between these guys, I suspect. As DJ here down the inside, chucks it down. Heafy gives him room, and DJ grabbing the lead. Down into the bowl, so DJ now leads ahead of Heafy. More of an air gap back to Presley now, definitely forming. Heafy a little bit deep there into one. Got to be careful with that one. That's a high commitment corner. It's so easy to lose a bunch of time towards the back end of Sector 1. He made it work, did lose a little bit in the tunnel. And oh, lost HB already. Oh, not sure what happened there. I wonder if something had happened somewhere in the background. No, we'd already lost him by that point. Oh no, HB already dropping out of contention in round one. And that's a massive shame for him. Only 8 drivers left in it very early on. So we'll just double check the room settings. Oh, traction control is most definitely promoted. Oh boy, we're having a mare. Having an absolute mare. take the results from the end of this lap and we will red flag it. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Should be just about everyone through the line. Just want to get confirmation that he's joining back. I now have a race order, but yep, okay, there we go. So just Steve, come on mate. Gotta realise you're the only one out there. There we go, awesome. And big apologies to everyone on that one. Yep, that was a bit of a mishap there in grabbing an incorrect room setting. And we'll change this to a rolling start. Make sure that traction control is now allowed. Set back to 26 lap race. Alright, that's actually been not too bad of a disruption. We'll get this one going a bit like a safety car restart. Everyone is back on. We did have DJ in the lead. HB will go to the back. That may even be the correct order already, which would be something incredible. DJ, Heafy, Prez, Bill, Snorks, Fat GDR, Greeny. Wow, incredible. That's gone actually better than I could have hoped. Alright, back into it. Again, sorry for a quick little blip there. Oh, wonder what other issues we could possibly have tonight. And the good thing about this as well is that everyone... Sorry about that, Snorks. Yeah, that's all on me. There we go, cool. Everyone on the straight as well, so don't need to worry about HB being way behind everyone. All the gaps a little bit opened up. Racing can resume at a pretty normal level as we go to the front. And DJ leads us off for a race restart now. 26 laps remaining now in this race. Div 2 with a shaky start, but we're back and running and everyone back into line astern. Very, very nice to have it back. And everyone happy again. Traction control is enabled once again. Of course, GT3 cars heavily rely on traction control. And yeah, I can understand why that would have caught a couple of people out. These cars are just not made to be without traction control whatsoever. Just dealing with more issues in Div 1. Unbelievably. Lots going on up and down. All craziness. Always craziness when you have 3 Motorsport Australia championships kicking off at once within the same league. It's a lot to manage, a lot to do, a lot to keep an eye on. Trying to keep an eye on Div 2 at the moment. And DJ making the most of that start for him. I think it was slipped towards the back. Fat GDR. So Fat GDR's made a mistake somewhere on this first lap after the restart. It already happened back in Sector 1. He lost that time quite early on, so quite a gap now for him to try and make up in car 9. Shown a lot of good pace though already, given he hasn't spent a whole lot of time on the game in recent years. We've got another glitch already. So the refueling glitch is on screen for us, which is going to plague us for the entirety of this race, I dare say. Every time we approach pit lane, it will tell us that whatever driver we're on board with must refuel, and that they have some unknown amount of laps remaining. Fixes itself out of the final corner, but a little bit of a scrappy one at the moment. Good news out of Div 1 now that we have 2 commentators on board for the Div 1 round 1. So Isaac Fogarty has joined Trevor Byers in the booth, so fantastic. We can do this all on our own though in here. And Presley's sticking with these guys a little bit better now actually. I'm showing a little bit more than I probably want to in the car info. That's a little bit better. I wasn't showing that before. Don't want to give away too much to the guys who may be keeping an eye on the stream. We did see the race start initially had quite a few drivers starting on the hard tyres. You almost have to wonder, and I didn't check, didn't give it away. Wouldn't want to spoil that for Presley, but he is definitely sticking with Heafy a little bit better after that first lap. Bit of a gap back to King Cave as well. Plugged another 8 tenths ahead there of car 007. GMR car staying in the tow. Snorksel's out of the tow actually, so he's fallen 1.9 back from King Cabe. Remember that was quite a nice race start from Snorksel. I think it was a P7 start, so he's definitely picked up a spot or two. HB being the loser there, definitely due to the catch out of not having traction control. Greeny as well, who didn't have the pace initially in qualifying in the 36 Tesco entry, has managed to find a little bit more pace. So Greeny tacking onto the back of Snorksel now. Again, our reigning champion in Snorksel, so Div 2 champion, come back for one more. Hopefully a few more than one more if we're able to do this again next year and the year after that. HB, who kindly pointed out to us in the threads that we had accidentally disabled traction control, so thank you to him for catching my mistake on that one and getting this one back under the way in the way that it should. Obviously a lot of guys don't use traction control, but it is enabled for Divs 2 and 3, so these guys fully within their rights to be able to use traction. And a bit of a mistake on my behalf. I had a room setting copied so that these guys could just share a Div 1 room for the streamer over there. Yeah, didn't realise that I had accidentally picked that room rather than the Div 2 one I had saved. So there's a lesson for everyone to make sure you label your stuff before picking it as HB Motor there. Yeah, maybe needed a bit more traction control than what he already has here. So touch with the wall there with HB, and that's dropped him well out of the path of Guarini, and actually has invited Steve Goof back here for a little bit of a sniff on HB. Steve Goof actually running a bit of a Brumby livery up there, and actually Heafy and DJ see him scrapping already side by side in the bowl, the same place that DJ put the move on earlier, and they're still side by side, these two, through the S's into the third sector. DJ and Heafy, I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. There was a change for position between cars 82, actually I beg your pardon, it's 93, cars 93 and 55, and now 101's joined the party as well, although without a doubt I'm going to get that one as wrong as well. It is 63, so car 63, 93 and 55 all into it right now, and that little go that Heafy had on DJ definitely invited Presley back to the party. So less than a second now between your top three, and this restart has definitely brought things a lot closer. It's given Presley a little bit more of a chance to stick with these guys, I think. He feels a little bit more confident that he can do it. and playing smart right now, right in the toe of Heafy. Not going to make a move, but going to be saving a bit of fuel, just saving the run. Maybe even giving Heafy a bit of a speed boost to get back towards DJ and help things a little bit later on with how this fight's going. 22 laps to go at the end of lap 4. These guys have to be thinking it's Heafy. Massive moment. That was even bigger than the one we saw from DJ earlier in the race. Presley with a little bit of a sniff from that one. Thought better of it around the outside. Didn't want to make a big mistake there and end up in the wall. Or he would have lost sight of DJ altogether. He's already pulled 1.7 seconds now, or thereabouts, on Heafy after that mistake. So that was a big, big moment for Thunder Heafy there, who could have lost it entirely on the 4th lap after our race restart. Good to see he is still travelling the right way, still in P2, but Presley now surely has to be getting a bit antsy, has to be thinking, if he's going to make a mistake like that, I have to get by him. And the Red Bull sponsored car looking now for a way by. As, oh, that's a better run out of the bowl actually. So the same way Heafy and DJ went side by side last lap, Heafy now looking at potentially doing the same thing with Presley. And Presley again just pulling in and again inviting everyone behind up to the back of this little train. I wonder if there are some tyre games at play here. I think maybe Heafy just a bit slower than the guys behind him at the moment, maybe a bit more mistake prone. I wonder if that's potentially a case of him being on the harder tyre and all those behind on the softer compound. Of course, tonight only hards and mediums available on this BRZ GT300, so not an abundance of grip that these guys have. It's actually quite slippery. The mediums in particular have a lot of front end bite, the rear end coming around quite aggressively depending on your steering input. The hard's a little bit more understeery, but the rear end a bit more stable. And this car, of course, trademark for how light it is. Very difficult to put the power down, hard to keep stability, especially when you're racing as hard as these guys are. That top 3 now gapped away from Kincaid once again, 1.7 off, so must have been a mistake there in the early stages of that first sector. The lap times aren't too bad, but whatever's happened, it's invited Snorksel right up to the back of car 007, and Snorksel looking for a way by. There actually wasn't a bunch of time lost there from Kincaid. I was just checking the time, under 2 tenths down on his personal best, so it's actually must have just been a great set of rhythm for Presley and Heafy, able to pull that gap. And these guys still within slipstream range, so this is perfect for Presley because it just helps. There's always a little bit of a benefit whenever you've got a driver that far ahead of you. Of course, there is a bit of dirty air to contend with, as Presley may have been feeling there on the exit of that corner. But as we can see from his lap times, there's always a bit of a game. The slipstream down the main straight and down that back straight in particular is going to be substantial. Car 63, as I nearly called him 53. We'll get it right towards the end of the season. We will. And having markers as well. Of course, all good to have your turn in, your braking marker, anywhere to hit the throttle in particular. But having a car in front of you to really help you hit your marks and guide you along as you go, really beneficial, especially when the guy ahead of you is pretty well regarded, knows what he's doing. Bit of a cool head on shoulders. And DJ there, fastest lap of the race, goes quick up with a 53.1. DJ, I'd imagine, actually running on the hard tyre. That's not looking like medium pace at the moment. At least I wouldn't think so anyway. DJ, however, making use of that track position. He's now got 1.5 seconds ahead of Heafy. Still in P2, he's off in the grass, Heafy. So another mistake at the exact same spot for Heafy. And that's dirty tyres. That's going to leave him vulnerable once again to Presley, who's setting a PB and all over the back now of that TRD BRZ GT300. Is he going to let him go? He is. So that's really heads up driving there from Heafy. In the background as well, Kincaid with a bit of a moment out of there, but Heafy slipping further and further back from Presley, who has made a very, very nice charge there on Heafy. And up into P2 goes car 63. Unfortunately, a 3-second gap ahead of him now, so DJ's used all of that time just to really build the gap, put some air time between himself, Heafy, and what P2 now has as Presley. DJ Master comfy buffer now that he can use going into the pit stop phase. Quite a while away, of course, especially if these guys are on the hard tyre. Although I think Presley's tyre choice is a bit more of a mystery to me. Not sure whether this pace is due to a medium selection or whether he's just switched on this hard really, really well. A bit squiggly there out of the third last corner. Not helped by the wind pushing you across the track there. It's quite a northeasterly wind there. I think that's the correct terminology if it's coming from the northeast. As these guys a little bit more calm now. Starting lap 7. Times are good, pace is good, track position very good if your name is DJ Master. 3.3 seconds still ahead of Presley. Heafy locked into that spot that I said was quite beneficial, 6/10 behind. And I'm noticing a few laps in a row now. He has got a real attack over these first set of corners. And it's certainly gaining him a tenth or so down into the tunnel section. But I think maybe on exit it's hurting him more than it's helping him. So it's a bit of a tightrope, that first sector. You've got to really walk it, figure out what is best for you. As Snorksel there, actually with Kincaid with a moment somewhere. So Kincaid falling back even further. There must have been a moment out of the tunnel. We'll see if we can catch it on the stream. Here he was in P5 following Snorksel. Oh no! Just on the power. Kincaid hard into the wall. Drivers left. It just misses HB as well. Oh, that is a shocking rejoin there from Kincaid. Very fortunate not to have caused more chaos than what he did, but car 007 right to the back, unfortunately 2/10 off the back of Steve Goof, and with a lot of work to do now to get himself back up to where I think he knows he should be with the pace that he's got. He's going to start that right away, throw it down the inside of Steve here, and start your journey back towards the top 5. Not an easy one in these cars at all, quite difficult to get runs. Steve there actually thought about a bit of an over-under, but I think he knows he probably doesn't have the pace on Kincaid at the moment and just chooses to back out of that one as we'll pan again towards the front. DJ Master still maintaining that gap. Presley and Heafy, line astern, 6/10 between these guys, and Snorksel now with a little bit of freedom around car 1. The Gamesman sponsored BRZ in this spot in P4 now, and quite a solid spot indeed he sits in actually, so no pressure ahead, no pressure behind. Should do quite well from here, I would think, just to start knuckling in some lap times and focus on not dropping it or making too many mistakes, as we've somehow managed to turn the bloody... No, hang on, that had race info before and it just gave me all the car info after a replay, so that's worth noting. So replays just turn your car info on for no reason at all. I'm learning things about this game every single night at this point. I don't know if I'm displeased with that or what's going on. As we pan back, Fat GDR P5 now. A little bit of a lonely opening run for him now as well. 2.5 behind Snorksel, 1.6 ahead of HB, who is making his way back forward after starting last for that restart. Of course, P9 for HB, after very kindly pointing out that the traction control was prohibited incorrectly. Again, another shout out to him on that one. He's had a quite a good run on times actually, I could say. He opened his stanza up with a 54.3 and then dropped a little bit with that 55.1. I think he was probably in and amongst cars. Of course, hasn't had to pass 3 guys on his way to P6 so far. That 54.1. About a second off what DJ's done, that 53.1 that we can see from him. However, we're not really sure where we're at with the tyres. We had them on screen, but not trying to give away too much here for the competitors who are running for quite a few prizes this year that we can touch base on throughout the night. Of course, the first one we can touch base on for Div 2 in particular is the Pro Speed Racing mini-series coming up and announced tonight. Pro Speed Racing mini-series is a 3-round leg of the Motorsport Australia GT Championship, title sponsored by Pro Speed Racing. If you haven't heard of Pro Speed Racing, they are an aftermarket car parts store with performance as a priority. And a massive focus on quality for those guys based in New South Wales on the Central Coast. Oh, actually, change for P2. Just saw it out the corner of my eye. Pro Speed Racing will have to wait just a little bit as we check in there. Thought I saw Heafy jump back ahead of Presley, but in fact, that is not quite the case. Heafy is quite close though. 10th off the back of Presley. He's going to go for a move here actually, so good timing to jump back on these guys. They might have been dicing just beforehand because Heafy down the inside is going to grab P2 back off Presley. So car 63 back into P3 and Heafy jumps himself back onto the second step of the podium. There must have been a mistake there from Presley. The lap times, the last two, haven't been all that convincing. You got to say Presley probably wants to see himself in the mid to low 53s rather than mid to high, with the occasional 54 sprinkled in, because it's let Heafy back through and Heafy's got a ton more pace than what Presley does. I'd say 53.1 on lap 5 for Heafy. That's very quick indeed for the man who, despite being P2, has now fallen 3.7 seconds back from our race leader, DJ Master, who surely at this point just needs to be starting the conservation game. You know, switching it up, making sure lift and coast into some of our harder braking corners, even our mid-speed. Just take a little bit more off where possible. Shorten the pit stop up, look after tyres and give yourself full strategy flexibility. Battle still there or thereabouts. Heafy and Presley, 7/10 between them now. Heafy, a few mistakes crept in so far this run. 10 laps in, not quite half race distance yet for these guys after the first few laps. Red flagged after a room settings issue. What a rookie mistake for the room host that was. I wonder who that guy is. Presley as well, impressing so far. Staying very consistent with the times. Heafy actually dragging DJ in just ever so slightly on that last lap. There it was, that full commitment send into turn 1 once again. And I commented it just earlier, Heafy is carrying a lot more mid-corner speed than a lot of these other guys into turn 1. And hard to confirm or really talk about without a bit of a figure in front of me. I'm very confident that's what's going on though. Check in again with Kincaid as he looks to recover after that crash at the exit of the tunnel just here. And looking towards the left of Greeny, or just trying to open up this next corner now. Different lines there actually, massively different lines. Greeny surely making a mistake on that one and opening the door once again for Kincaid, who is right in behind underneath the rear wing of car 36. Surely a chance here down at the bowl. Kincaid, when's he going to pull out? When's he going to make the most use of that slipstream? Looks to the outside on Greeny, who isn't running defensive in the slightest, who does dive in just ever so slightly towards the apex, but Kincaid holding position for now, not liking that chance. Just thinking, no, I'll do it later. I'll get him another time. So we see these cars really breaking off into groups at the moment. Heafy, another few tenths out of DJ. Did actually lose a little bit on the exit of that final corner, did Heafy. Presley, of course, ever so sturdy in that P3 position, and I'm surely hoping not to make a habit of it this season. Of course, 12 rounds, 12 combos, 12 different tracks, 12 very different cars. Surely Presley can find a combo that suits him better than these two ahead of him. Snorksel has GDR for company now. So Fat GDR has been slowly reeling in our reigning champion. The times aren't too bad at all for Snorksel, so it's been low 54s, now heading a little bit higher. Fat GDR, you got to think it's been very low 54s, the odd 53 in fact. And Fat GDR looking for it early, looking for a chance. Snorksel hanging him out. And Fat GDR, what a move. Didn't expect him to get that done so early at all. Car 9 through on car 1. And Fat GDR up into P4 on lap 12 of Motorsport Australia Gran Turismo Championships Division 2, round 1. As Fat GDR dives in, so 12 laps, that's all he wanted to run. And that is the medium tyre sported on his car. So that's interesting. Maybe that could be why that gap came down so rapidly. And it's going to be about that time for the medium runners to look at coming in. Quite a long pit stop indeed for these guys, as they have to wait an eternity for the car to show up in the box. And if you haven't seen Gran Turismo pit stops before, they are quite aesthetically pleasing, as we do actually see a proper animated pit stop. And fuel now going into the car. And rejoins there in 9th place with his own space on the road. Thinking as well, surely this is just about the trigger point that everyone will need just to start thinking about a pit stop themselves. Picking up again, DJ Master, third last corner, 13th lap. And that gap is coming down. So DJ Master choosing to blink. I did call it. I said maybe this was about the time. And that confirms what we already know. So DJ Master on the hard tyre. Heafy choosing to continue. Presley continuing as well. Snorksel bringing it in. HB will be the next to arrive. HB also bringing it in. So this is the lap for hards, it would seem. Lap 13, cutting the race in half. Greeny Sim Racing coming in. Choosing not to dive in. Kincaid the same, and Steve Goof. So now, very interesting as well. Look at the fuel burn on HB Motors. So HB absolutely chewing through the fuel on car 85, and still actually setting quite competent lap times. That 53.9 on his last lap of asking. Quite solid indeed. As we catch here, DJ Master, and this is going to work out quite poorly for him, because this is going to rejoin right in the middle of traffic. So DJ Master, an unfortunate strategy play here for car 55. This is going to cost him some time. He was already bleeding time to Heafy and Presley, who are certainly cutting down his gap. But DJ Master now with the medium tyre bolted on underneath car 55. And he's going to be super unable to avoid losing bulk time here between what is actually closing up a little bit. I did just see Steve Goof in behind. But there's the run. The run already. So 3 wide actually. This could be really beneficial for DJ. Potentially race saving if it all goes his well. Kincaid with the run on Greeny. And DJ looking to get it done on both of them as soon as he arrives on the scene. DJ Master now down the inside. Greeny's being cleared. It's just Kincaid to go. And DJ Master, he's got a little bit of fight in this sparring partner, but Kincaid pulls in, concedes the fight, and slips into P4, funnily enough, where he begun this fight against Greeny. Still looking out for our top 2 to pit. Steve Goof comes in, so taking pressure off of Kincaid, Greeny and DJ to a certain extent. See where Steve Goof peels out. Bit of an interesting prospect here. Fat GDR coming down the main straight. Looks like Steve's going to beat him out. HB as well. Both will beat Steve out. As Heafy's still continuing. Gap's opened up a little bit from Presley to Heafy in and amongst the pit stops. Interesting, of course, to see all of these guys on the hard tyre. Still continuing on, no pit stop yet for the top 2. Really looking to do that Shane Van Gisbergen style late charge on the medium, softer compound tyre. So a little bit shocked to see what I'm seeing at the moment from these two. Maybe not the odd decision to make, but certainly not the one I expected to see. As Presley, they're getting it loose twice at the exit of that tunnel section in Sector 1. Certainly grip starting to disappear now for these guys, as there was a change there. Oh, there was a spin actually. It was a spin for Fat GDR. So on the exit of the final corner, that's not the replay we want from Fat GDR, as we'll see if we can still catch that. He did actually get some damage nosing in, and it was as simple as that. The traction of the BRZ has been quite the talking point for quite a few people, and smacks the arse end of it on the Armco for good measure as well, and that's just invited Steve right up to play. And that Brumby inspired livery is certainly seeing a lot of sets of taillights tonight, and not to say there's a lot of people ahead of him, more to say there are a lot of people making mistakes, dropping back and going all the way back to Dice with Mr. Goof down here indeed, as he actually tries something there, and I thought there wasn't room for it, but he made it work just about, nearly side by side with Fat GDR, who has the line heading now into the left-hander onto the back straight. And finally, race leader Heafy in the pits, and I think that is quite a good fuel save there from Heafy. 33 litres left compared to Presley's 22. There's about a 5 litre per second pit stop time in regards to fuel, and this will be interesting now. Keep an eye on DJ Master and where they're going to come out in relation to him. Of course, Heafy and Presley, and now Kincaid for that fact as well, don't necessarily need as much fuel was what DJ put in. This could be just a simple pump and dump, change the tyres, off you go. That doesn't quite seem like that's going to be enough for Heafy, as DJ here threading it into turn 1, no one ahead of him, and quite a gap back to Heafy. And Heafy now 6 seconds, and I've also bloody got the race info back. That's unreal. You see, display race info, but it's showing me the car info. If I go display all, that's what that's showing me. If I go back to display race info, it disappears again. This game is something interesting, as we see Greeny sim racing there coming out of the medium tyre. So Greeny going for the fast finish as well. And DJ, who did actually set a 52 flat before coming in, last lap on his tyres. Seven seconds now, DJ Master. And quite the spread we've now had between the top three. And 12.3 seconds between them after what was quite an interesting early battle. Gap holding as we are coming around to start lap 18 now of Div 2. Presley getting a little squirrely. We'll check in again with some more members of the field. S2T Snorksel still doing quite a fine job and finding time as well. I think he's potentially gone for the alternate strategy as well, hard to medium. Motor, who has had an eventful race so far. Those yellow headlights glowing at the front of HB Motors. BRZ there looking good. Very nice in the dark. Quite a bit of field spread now opening up for the Div 2 lads. Cars going faster. Lots of PBs setting their own lights up on the right hand side leaderboard. Spending a little bit of time giving a driver a little bit of air time and love for the livery. Not a whole lot to chat about at the moment. It's just quite a lot of field spread, which is perfectly fine. All these guys doing their own thing and finding time one way or another. Interesting, but Greeny has been able to set a PB last time out with that 53.6. Coming into the closing stages of the race. Best time to be quick, if you ask me. Chirp of the brakes there for Fat GDR. Bit of a mistake indeed, 2.5 seconds down on his payback. Flicking towards the front once again, DJ Master. 5 laps to go at the conclusion of 21. Quite a solid run it's been for the man who, again, oh so close to Division 1. And doing a fine job indeed, leading from the front in Div 2. quiet run for Heafy so far. Locked into a bit of a battle with Presley earlier. Doing very well to find his own state of play here. A bit of a battle forming here. Greeny sim racing potentially now starting to hunt down Steve Goof in the late stages of this race. There could be a change of fortune. Greeny looking to get inside the top 7 would be a nice way to debut in this series. Importantly, I think a lot of these guys just need to be not making mistakes now. That's really the last thing for them. Dropping it now would be quite, sort of like call it awkward, but certainly not ideal. Holding pace. Steve, however, really locked in there. I think potentially just saw the gap coming down and wants to make sure he's not really going to leave this one up to chance. Got some time between himself and Greeny sim racing coming to get him. Talk about DJ. We'll give him some props here for a moment while everything is nice and quiet and nothing is happening. And DJ has been very, very active within the Race and Oz community as of late. Certainly doing a lot of driving at the very least, and doing it quite well, may I say. Has been active not only just in the Sunday League, our premier class, but doing lots of imitation games, Monday night driving as well. Thought I might as well just give a quick kind of shout out / analysis of just how he's gone as of late. There's been some very impressive performances from our current race leader. 6 seconds to the good over Heafy. He's currently P3 outright in our GT3 championship. 2 rounds in, overall podium at the Red Bull Ring, only losing out to Lemons, who is currently doing battle in Division 1. He is our hypercar championship leader. That is 4 rounds in with 2 wins, clean swept the Abu Dhabi round and a podium at Catalonia. So clearly quite a niche operator. And as well, our championship leader for GT3 at Imitation Games. That's a round win at Abu Dhabi, which really sealed that one for him. Round wins after that again went to Rd1 and Sharky, 2 more guys currently in our Div 1 Motorsport Australia Championship title battle. The calibre of driver that DJ is, it almost felt rude to have seeded him into Div 1. This is a very, very hard spot for him to be. Car 55, quite a gap he's got at the moment back to Heafy. 5 seconds now. But Heafy himself is another guy who quite easily could have been dropped into Div 1, as we'll pan to him here. And himself and Thunder Arts, he's certainly looking to make a name in this series, along with the other GMR boys. Heafy, another one of those guys with unreal times and unreal effort to get to where he is right now. I think Presley, one of our more recent up-and-comers, just made Div 1 in the Sunday League Championship, and he'll certainly be one of these guys that's knocking on the door of Div 1 sooner rather than later. Probably not as close as DJ and Heafy were in pre-qualifying. Of course, DJ, I believe in either I think it was the Peugeot, actually set one of the top 12 fastest times overall, which obviously Peugeot alone would have actually had him in Division 1. So super rapid from DJ. Again, massively unfortunate that he wasn't able to make the top flight. Again, prizes on offer in Div 2. Here's our reigning champion, flicking onto him. If he's had this stream on, he probably knows just as well as anyone that these lapses of commentary and the quiet in between everything have certainly been me falling asleep. It's been a big couple days in between organising everything for the Motorsport Australia GT Championships, as well as quite a few big moments at work. Of course, we all have to be working at some stage, pay the bills, and then get the thrills at a later date. It's something that I want to give a shout out to Snorksel on. He's been doing it oh so well. The amount of effort this man has put into this league, into making everything look pretty and for everything working out. And the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Snorksel has really been doing a phenomenal job for this league. He's helped with livery regs, he's helped with logos, promotions, all the stream overlays that you'll see if you duck onto the Div 1 stream at the moment. That's all Mr. Snorksel. He has been digging deep and really putting in a shift. We can forget for a second that he isn't half bad as a driver, as he sets a nice four-wheel drift there around the right-hander for our back straight. But as a graphical genius and quite handy with the liveries as well, that is a gorgeous livery on the BRZ. Gamesman colours as well on that one. He certainly takes a lot of pride in how things look. I certainly couldn't have thought a better person to be giving me a hand through all of this and balancing that workload. So a personal shout out and thank you to Snorksel, navigating the bowl there in P4. And P4 as well, not too shabby for a reigning champion. Title defence is certainly on, and something that he could potentially do series is, oh no, we've got lag issues there. Oh, I hope I'm not jinxing him. I'm going to get off him before the commentator's curse really sets in. And I think this is perfect time just to jump on with DJ Master and appreciate this final lap here as we are settling in for one more go around Trial Mountain. And quite a slow race, I will admit, for these guys. Quiet by all means. Certainly not action-packed in the second stanza, that's for sure. As we do have a little bit of action there. Greeny managing to get by Steve Goof. So Greeny up into the 7 with only a lap to go. So there's Greeny getting a little bit of dessert at the end of his dinner. DJ Master, who has run a very, very satisfying race up to this point. Got the lead in the first 3 laps after a stonking qualifying lap from Heafy. And DJ has certainly not looked back after that. Came to really find quite an early gap after Presley and Heafy stuck into each other with a couple haymakers and some good moves between those guys. And it just gave that air gap to DJ that he really wasn't expecting, I'm sure, but is certainly going to make the most of. As we thread ourselves now into the final sector, and it's getting a little bit closer now for DJ. This may be Div 2, but it is certainly a top win for DJ if he brings this home. And 2 corners to go now, just the chicane. The new section at Trial Mountain brought in for GT7. The resurrection of a circuit brings the resurrection of a series and a new winner as well. DJ Master, car 55, the Sapphire Nitro entry, brings it home and across the line to win round 1 of the Motorsport Australia GT Championships Division 2 and takes the spoils. Heafy, our pole sitter, has to settle for P2, brings it across there. Great drive from Heafy. Elvis Presley himself, back from the dead, brings it home P3 with a very, very nice podium indeed. Snorksel, our reigning champion, a quiet run in for P4, and it's HB Motor who rounds out the top 5. Kincaid, who slipped a little bit in the later stages of the race. Another GMR driver, I believe potentially one of the bosses there at GMR. Car 007 with a persevering drive there. Bill brings it across the line there for P6 before Greeny Sim Racing with that late move over Steve Goof ahead of him in P8, which leaves us only with Fat GTR, last car on track, and a return to organised sim racing and sim racing in general for Fat GTR, and only the beginning of a very, very long season here for these guys, starting it in May, finishing it in November. Quite a season ahead for these drivers. DJ Master setting the pace first, and Fat GTR capping it off for round 1 there. Div 2 run and won at Trial Mountain. And there you go. So DJ Master, Mick Sweeney on the back. Victory. And I don't believe it actually was a pole position. But it was certainly a clean race and a very well-run race at that. And finally all finished for these guys. As we check in here with our official results, so just confirming all drivers definitely fulfilled their tyre requirements. So DJ again, fastest lap of the race and the race win, first position for him. Heafy in P2, who did grab our pole position, and we'll get an extra bonus point for that one. Presley in P3, his first podium, I should say, in this series. Snorksel, reigning champion P4, HB Motor P5 on return to Div 2. Kincaid, Greeny and Steve, our top 8 before Fat GTR, rounding out the field. As we'll just grab a couple screenshots of these results for our point standings. And a replay as well in case we need it. Well, fantastic. And very nice to finally get the monkey off the back and have that one run. There were certainly a few problems, certainly a few bumps along the way. Mammoth battle in Div 1. I think I'm going to close this up and shoo everyone off. Go and have a look at the Div 1 stream. Go and see what's going on right now. There's some cool stuff happening in Div 1 that we'll check in with those guys. Hope to catch you all very shortly for another round. Motorsport Australia GT Championship. We're back in 2 weeks. The Amuse S2000 GT1 Turbo at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. The Pro Speed Racing Mini Series kicks off then. Very, very excited to have full contingency of drivers back for that one. Thank you all for joining in. Hope everyone enjoys the stream, enjoys the replay, and I'll chat to you all very soon. Good night.